Okay, everybody, it's time. I've been building up to this for weeks and weeks. 456 hours. Let's do the frickin' Inferno already. I have no idea what I'm bringing or what the plan is, so I'm gonna have to sit here and bank stand for a second and kind of figure out what my inventory setup's gonna be and what my fragment setup's gonna be. So that's probably gonna get fast forwarded here. I'll come off and explain my reasoning for whatever it is I'm bringing, but give me a second to set that up. Okay, I think I have a setup now. Let me walk through it real quick. So the gist of it here is this basic setup. Decided to go with the Verax helmet over the Crystal helmet. The Crystal helmet's some extra damage and accuracy, and maybe I'll swap to it if I have some bad luck, but the difference in defensive bonuses is actually kind of insane on this guy. So I think that while I'm learning and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to get hit more often, I think this is the way to go. Had to choose between the Assembler or the Max Cape. Max Cape has better defensive bonuses and gets more prayer, which we'll talk about in a second. But I think on the live servers, I'm going to end up going with the Assembler because I'm not going to have a Max Cape. So I'm trying to make it as close to what I can actually bring on live as possible. Within reason, I'm not going to bring a Kodai Wand or Ancestral or Dagon High. I'm probably going to end up bringing Arms, but, you know, just for shits and giggles. I'm bringing the Crystal Shield, which I think is only going to be equipped at the start of each wave, but I think the objective is to reduce incoming damage while I freeze the Nibblers. It's recommended that I bring Barrow's Gloves, but I'm bringing a Region Bracelet. I want to talk about fragments. I'll explain that more, but that's been super helpful in other content so far to give me a little bit of breathing room, and I think it'll be especially helpful in Inferno. I haven't been using the Ring of Suffering, but I'm going to bring it here. I should probably make a whole boatload of recoils just so I can activate this. I'll do that real quick before I go in since I've saved an inventory setup now. Inventory-wise, I'm going F-Bow, Crystal Armor, Necklace of Anguish. I'm not actually planning on using the Blowpipe. I think the reason you bring the Blowpipe is primarily to deal with the healers during Zuck. But I did reach out to the RuneScape subreddit, and there were folks who said they didn't even bring a blowpipe in the first place. I would prefer to not use it because lots of reasons. I mean, one, it's less accurate now, but for some reason, my brain, I understand how this game works in terms of ticks. Like, clearly I do fine and stuff like Corrupted Gauntlet. I know how to, like, run through whirlwinds and that sort of a thing. But anything that's a 2-tick attack speed, like, breaks my brain. And I haven't been able to figure out why. I have this problem with Ulm. I have this problem everywhere. For some reason, I'm not able to attack and move at the same time whenever I have something that's 2-tick. But it's fine when it's 4-tick. So I'm going to bring it just in case it matters for some reason. Maybe the spec will matter or something. And it's probably something that I'll bring on the live servers. I threw Dragon Darts in there. I don't know that I'm actually going to use it. I brought the Sarah God Sword. Hopefully all the relics mean that I don't need it, but, you know, it's a thing that I'll be bringing on live, so may as well. Same deal with the Falador Shield 4. Probably don't need it because I have lots of other sources of prayer restore, but it's okay. I'm bringing more brews than restores, which is usually inadvisable, but because of the league, I have more options for prayer, so I'll talk about that in a sec when I get to fragments. I'd honestly be bringing almost no super restores if I was able to do my melee setup where I would have both Divine Restoration and Living on a Prayer. But unfortunately, range is the worst setup for fragments this league, so that doesn't really help. I made myself a quick Bastion Potion. My understanding is that you don't even use this until maybe Jads, but definitely not until Zuck. So but I have one. And then I don't have a stamina potion, obviously, so I just am bringing an extra super restore, an extra brew, however you want to see it. Fragment setup. So this is probably going to involve a lot of rethinking and retooling. God, range sucks so bad. Range doesn't even have a combo with Knife's Edge. At least it has one with Absolute Unit. I wanted to bring Living Under Prayer and shoot Divine Restoration, the one that restores your prayer, but I can't really justify both of them. And I think that Living on a Prayer gets me Knife's Edge, which is harder for me to get with double tap than Absolute Unit, which I can get with double tap. So I can maybe look at this more closely and see, because I think I would rather have Divine Restoration than Living on a Prayer, because Divine Restoration actually gives me prayer back. So if I have to pause a wave, I could, kind of lazily sit there and get all my prayer back without having to worry about it. So I'll look at the board and maybe see if there's a way to swap this in instead. It would require dropping Venommaster or Saradominus Defense, and I don't think I like either of those. So I do actually want, even though it's not super amazing, I do want fast metabolism, because if you have that with the Regen Bracelet and with the Rapid Heal Prayer, it's like 16 HP per minute, which is going to be great in terms of not having to think too much about healing and not having to stress too much about healing throughout the waves. I've had a lot of good luck with that. I guess this is where I'd be willing to drop something. I'd be willing to drop this for Divine Restoration and drop Larger Recharger for something else, maybe another source of double tap. But my main objective here has been to try to get as much survivability as possible, to the point of I don't even have triple double tap. I only have double tap right now. I do have triple Knife's Edge, because I found that seems almost more impactful than double tap to overall DPS in a lot of cases. So I guess I have defensive Inferno, and I should probably make an offensive Inferno setup, which would be dropping Larger Recharger. Oh, right, I have to go to a bank. Fuck. Offensive would be dropping Larger Recharger, it would be dropping Venommaster, it would be taking Divine Restoration, and it would be taking one other source of double tap, which I guess doesn't matter because everything else it combos with is terrible. So that's still has full Knife's Edge, it only has half Dragon's Touch, but it gives me full double tap and full Absolute Unit, and no fast metabolism, which in that case I probably wouldn't bother with the Regen Bracelet. I'd switch out to the Barrow's Gloves. But I'll go ahead and make that a preset. It'll be Inferno. But I'm still learning, so let's start with the super defensive setup and see how that goes. Honestly, having to deal with prayer a little bit is probably going to be good for learning. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any prayer flicking. I've done a ton of prayer flicking on the live servers for content that doesn't need it, and it's been so long since I've had to do it, it's probably bad, honestly, for my muscle memory. So I am likely going to have to try to do some content to practice prayer flicking to get back into the habit of it. If you go back and watch my Quest Cape playthrough, I discovered prayer flicking insanely early, just like naturally while playing the game, and then used it a ton. I used it for probably 1,000 hours of like normal Slayer content, not realizing that I was forcing myself to play way more attentively than I needed to at prayer potions. So I got super good at it, and then once I got prayer potions and had enough that they were going to last me forever, I just totally stopped. And lost all muscle memory for it, so not super great. In any case, I think this is about as good as we're going to get, so I think it's time for me to start heading there. Stop at a bank en route. Probably not going to have a lot to say during the waves. I did do a little bit of this, like I said, during the Trailblazer League, and I got to like halfway through before I started getting just like one shot by the mages and then burned out in the league. But I'm committed to not burning out here. Also, they published the points totals, and so I have 51,175. The point total to stay in Dragon today on Wednesday is 47,800, something like that. 48,700. Let me double check. The point of it is that I'm uncomfortably close. If we assume that people just get the exact same number of points this week as they got last week, then I'm a little worried. Yeah, it's 47,890 this week, I think. Hold on, that might be the projection. Give me a second. 47,650, so a little bit less than that. So if we assume they gain the exact same number of points from the previous week to this week, as they go from this week to the end of next week, they're going to end in like 51,700, which I'm like 600 points shy of. And that's assuming that nobody is trying to go extra hard to try to secure themselves in Dragon, which I don't think is going to be the case. I think people are going to go extra hard. So I'm probably going to have to stop Inferno a little bit to do some points hunting. Maybe I'll plan to do a couple tasks in between attempts just to kind of conserve my sanity a little bit. At some point I might stop and look at the task list to see if there's something that's arguably AFK. I think I've honestly tapped out everything AFK in the league. Like, it's all gone. But I feel like I should try to track one down, because maybe I consider Kraken. That's what I'll do. Because I have like a phone call this morning that's going to take like an hour. If I go to Kraken, that'll be completely fine, I think. So I think that'll be the plan. Yeah, I left a bunch of Kraken tasks on the table because of fishing explosives not being available. But they patched that, so I should just be able to go buy enough fishing explosives to get all of the Kraken boss kill tasks, and that'll be my new source of AFK for the rest of the league. Well, until I do all of it, which is still going to be several hours, but I've got headphones for this. My objective is to kind of do this like the live servers. Like, I'm going to try to freeze the nibblers, hide behind pillars, that kind of a thing. I'm going to see how much the relics let me, like, just face tank it. Because honestly, the waves, I'm less concerned with practicing on the leagues. I can always do that on the live servers. It's not a huge deal. Like, I know it is a huge deal. My understanding is that the waves are the hard part. That honestly suck isn't that big of a deal, and triple jads aren't that big of a deal. My fear, though, is that it takes so long to get good enough to even get to those bosses that I'm going to choke on them. So I want practice on them more than I want practice on the waves. So if I find a way to just face tank the waves, I'm just going to do that. But I guess I'll come off mute and off fast forward if anything particularly interesting happens. But let's get it over with. Let's start. I have all these markers that used to have like labels and colors on them, and they all got lost, so I should have to figure this out again later. Going decently at the moment. I would say there's a couple things I want to turn off here. The Ceradoman sword has been more useful than I was expecting. I pretty much just brought larger recharger to qualify for more set bonuses, but I'm using this thing all the time because living on a prayer is not enough for prayer. So this is probably training me to play really badly in terms of prayer usage, but again, I'm not here to practice that. I can do that on the live servers. Let me turn some things off here. I don't need that. I can look that up. Turn off the inventory summary. I like having that on the side of the screen, but nothing to do with inventory here, so it doesn't really matter. Turn off the tolerance, aggression. I should fix these tile markers, get the right colors and labels and stuff, but I think I kind of have a sense. This is supposed to represent, like, the different ranges of things, right? Like, I think this is 10 tiles. That's the range where it's out of range of certain things. Oh, that's from this tile, I think. Yeah, I think if I stand here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right. So I have the 10 range, I have the blowpipe range, I have all of that. But I set this up so long ago, I don't remember what most of it means, unfortunately. Alright, let's keep going. I think about this. This is about the furthest I ever got before. I got to when mages started showing up. Obviously, the first mage didn't kill me, but once I started having to deal with mages and rangers on the same wave, I started to get nuked. So I think the strategy here is to just camp the mage prayer for the rest of the run, kind of similar to what you do in the fight caves. Maybe you can switch if you know the major is somewhere safe, but that he hits like a truck, so you really don't want to be dealing with him, I think, is the rule. So I'll try to do that. Oh yeah, the mage revives creatures. I forgot about that part. So something I probably should try to learn. I won't do it this attempt, but I know there are ways to solve individual stacks on the pillar in terms of what you should do with your prayer. Maybe I'm hoping if I get a clear to throw on the Slayer helmet and come back a couple times. Maybe try to get the 5 clears achievement just so that I can say I've practiced it for the live servers. Maybe I'll try to do one of those attempts where I really try to understand the solutions to different waves, you know? Because maybe this means I should try to kill the major first if it's possible, but sometimes it's not going to be possible, I assume. That was a wave that would have wiped me on Trailblazer. Don't even have rangers yet. I was just getting hit by bats, blobs, a melee, and a mage at the same time, and just kind of panicked, but took care of all of the crazy defensive buffs from the league. It didn't really matter. Thanks. So I'll definitely need to do a lot of leagues, like practice off leagues, just to get a handle on the waves. I don't really have a handle on them yet, but I'm confident I can get there eventually. I just gotta get the practice in. 40 or so minutes to start practicing is a much more reasonable order, I think, than the 3-hour practice I need for Zuck. I think I had the opacity on these tiles super low too, so they weren't so jarring. Like 10% opacity or something, just so I could quickly see my range. That's fine. This is where the fun begins. We've got mages and rangers at the same time, and I would already be dead. I would already be extremely dead, actually, if I didn't have absolute unit. Good lord. And now we're in, the real Inferno begins here, right? Of course the ranger respawned at the instant the major died. Probably just need to start letting some of the nibblers go, to be honest. I think it's really dangerous to try to focus on killing all of them every single time. I need to highlight their southwest tile. Hold on one second, let's change that color. Oh, I don't like that at all. Can I go back? I had a nice color for that for many hours of gameplay, and I don't remember what the old one was. I was look at the VOD later to fix it. It's mostly just trying to fix the southwest tile highlight. Okay. I need to start paying closer attention. Haven't been AFK, obviously, but now I can, die instantly at the start of a wave, so I gotta start planning out my life a little bit better. Situations like this are where having the F-bow is nice. I feel like the short range of the blowpipe is gonna get me killed a lot of the times. I think, as a general rule, I want to try to get the major as close to the pillar as humanly possible. That way when it resurrects stuff, it kind of tends to spawn it behind the major. That might not be true. I haven't really reviewed Inferno strategy at all, but I guess that makes sense to me. I think at least when he resurrects things, they come back with fewer health, so it's not a complete waste to kill them early. And indeed, often you have to kill them early, I think. I gotta just start letting nibblers go at this point, I think. It's not gonna get me killed this wave, but it could get me killed in a future wave. Not too hard for that to happen. Probably should learn the pattern for flicking the blob plus the major. I think that's a pretty common thing to have to deal with, but... I wonder what the rule is for where the computer decides to spawn stuff. It looks like it tries to resurrect stuff behind stacks on the pillar, but maybe that's just a coincidence. Okay, this is my first time having this happen. I have the Major and the Ranger on the same side, and I think there's a way to deal with that, but I'm gonna have to Google it here in a second. I'm gonna try to not get disconnected while I look it up. 1 second. Yeah, so the exact video has an entire section for exactly this problem, so I'm gonna watch that real quick. This will be helpful for me to learn for the future. In the center of the space behind the pillar, which is here in this case, since I don't have them on the normal side of the pillar. Right, because like stepping out from the middle of the pillar because I'm running, it confuses the game a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of jank in this game that makes more sense if you understand it as a product of the fact that when you run, you teleport 2 tiles. I think in doing Chambers of Xeric solo during the leagues, I finally got a bit of a feel for that. Why Ulm's head turns sometimes but not other times has to do with the exact number of tiles that you're teleporting at a time. So right, if I stand here and I walk out, I become visible to both of them on the exact same tick. But if I stand here and walk out, I become visible to one of them slightly sooner than the other one, which I think is the trick behind it. But anyway, I'm watching the rest of the video. Okay, I maybe understand this. I'm probably going to get wrecked, but I'm going to give it a try here. So I think my understanding is that if I do... Because the Ranger's in the back, he's going to see me first if I teleport out to the side here. So I'm going to turn on Protect from Range. I guess I'll turn on Eagle Eye. I have to click out. I can't click the mob, otherwise it's wrong. Well, whatever I'm doing it wrong. Jesus, it was bad. It was almost extremely bad. Yikes. Big yikes. Yeah, it's tricky. I think I might have issues with my latency, because like when I do this, I guess I need to talk over it so it doesn't get fast forwarded. When I rapidly switch between prayers, depending on the server, I think it works okay on like the high risk world, but it doesn't always work consistently from tick to tick. Like sometimes it'll lag and get stuck, or it'll double activate. This is actually the best I've ever seen it work. So maybe my connection issues have resolved themselves, or the leak servers are particularly stable or something, but I'm almost certainly going to have to figure out how to do this on the leagues where I have a higher tolerance for failure, right? Because that time I went out there and started flicking prayers randomly and just died. Or I would have died if it wasn't for Absolute Unit and everything else. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to use the leagues to figure this out. Even if I like cheese my way through all the waves and beat Zuck and want to say that I'm done, I have to come back, I think, and I specifically have to get to these waves with mages and rangers just to try to practice this in a scenario where fucking it up doesn't kill me and force me to reset. Because I was trying to learn this in Trailblazer, and I didn't have, take half damage or quadruple HP regen, because that's not how Trailblazer worked. And so if I went out there to go practice it, I would just die. I would get stacked out instantly, and I wouldn't have the chance for my brain to make the connections about what was going wrong. So I don't think I'm going to try to master this this run. I think this run I'm just going to try to get as close to triple Jads and Zuck as I can. But after I get it clear, I think I'm going to come back here and intentionally try to practice this until I get it down. Like bring Bruise and plan to lose the Bruise on learning this stack until I feel comfortable with it. Unfortunately, the video, something about anything that's tick perfect, watching a video is so not helpful, because like you need to just do it, your brain just needs to be able to process it. Okay, I'm coming up on wave 64, which means I'm done with blobs. So I'm not done like with everything, obviously, but I'm getting close to the end of the annoying stuff. So I think I'm gonna log out on wave 65, so that wave 66 starts. That's the one that's just nibblers and mages. That's should basically be a freebie. What I don't want is I don't want to load in on Jad. I'd rather load in and then go straight into Jad once I feel ready for it. So I think single Jad is going to be no problem at all. Triple Jads I practiced a lot on the tournament worlds, but that was also like 6+ months ago. But I think I left a bunch of notes about it in my Discord, so I'm going to try to search those up, catch myself up on what's going on, and then I'll watch the exact video for Zuck a few times. I understand the premise of Zuck. Hide behind the shield, shoot him from behind the shield, kill the healers when they spawn. He's going to spawn Majors and Rangers that I have to deal with that are really annoying. Yeah, I think he spawns a Jad. Yeah, so this is by far the furthest I've ever gotten, and it's completely because of absolute unit and to some extent fast metabolism. I'm glad I went with the defensive setup here. I can sit behind a pillar and full heal in like a minute or so. I actually haven't had to use that. This is the first wave I've really significantly used it on, and I've got tons and tons of supplies, so it should be completely fine. Just sitting here trying to think what I want to do here. Yeah, let's get up to wave 65, trigger the log out, pause the recording, go watch a bunch of videos and read through Discord and do my best to prep, and then hopefully that'll be enough. I'm probably gonna have to recolor my tiles too. Maybe I'll do that on the log out, because some of these are supposed to be for Zuck, the ones on the back here. I just don't know which ones because all of my colors and labels got wiped out, and opacities. So maybe I'll use that opportunity just to kind of like calm my nerves. It'll probably be therapeutic to sit down after wave 65 and fix all these tile markers, so that'll be my plan for now. One thing I've noticed is that my defense is surprisingly high. And maybe this is why everyone was recommending bringing the crystal gear. Like, I still would have died without absolute unit, but I wasn't actually getting hit splats on me as much as I was expecting. Maybe sometimes it's okay to just, like, face tank one of them, you know, and then get your resources back by other means later. Inferno has been paused. You may log out. Okay, so I think I fixed the Zuck safe spots. Rather than log out, I am going to log out and like breathe and walk around and get a drink and stuff. But before I do any of that, I'm just going to make sure there's nothing else I have to mark or anything else that I need to explicitly set up here. So without watching the video, my understanding of these safe spots is that I need to stand behind the shield, and that these are the only spots where I can safely click Zuck without getting in trouble, basically. So I can stand here, click Zuck, stand here, click Zuck, run to here, click Zuck. I don't think I click from safe spot to safe spot. I think I just click to stay behind the shield as much as possible. But I probably want to be faced like this rather than like this, because I need to be able to pay attention to whatever mobs are spawning back here. And what I'm almost certain is going to happen is I'm going to get overwhelmed, and I'm not going to follow my rule for Jad, which is one thing at a time, and I'm going to try to like heal and attack and change prayers at the same time. I have this like completely irrational desire to like win on the first try, and I need to get over that right now. Like, I'm going to die. I just hope that in the process of dying that I learn something for next attempt is what I'm praying for here. So I'm going to try to stay on the map for a second. It'll just be a quick fast forward while I stand still, or maybe move back and forth a little bit to keep from getting disconnected. But I'm going to watch the exact guide here and see if there's anything that I want to say out loud or practice without anything being spawned, just to kind of get into the right brain space for it. Unfortunately, this is an 18-minute guide, so I'm not going to record me standing here. I'm just going to pause the live split timer and pause the recording, but I'll be back. Okay, hey folks, I'm back. I watched the exact video. I'm not going to say that I'm ready, but I feel better prepared. So I changed my tile markers, as you can see here. Let me walk through what's going on and kind of walk through my understanding of the fight. So the yellow tiles are the safe spots. When we say safe spot, we just mean that Zuck attacks at a predictable interval such that I can always just move between these tiles. I can also just always stay with the shield and attack behind the shield, but before the healers spawn, it's just an easy way to kind of keep track of what you're doing. So my understanding is that the way the shield moves, once I'm over here, I should be able to attack Zuck twice. Then I should be able to kind of run here, attack once, and then while running to this safe spot, attack in the middle and just make sure I keep running immediately, attack once, get over here, and attack twice. So that part makes a decent amount of sense to me. Let me turn the music back on. It's because it was doubling up with the exact video. So I think I get that part. During the fight, sets are going to spawn. There's going to be a major and a ranger. And a lot of my fear about this was based on the assumption that I thought I had to kill both the major and ranger. But I don't think that's true. I think I only need to kill the ranger. I do need to kill the major for when Jad spawns. And there might be multiple majors depending on how bad I am. But in general, I get to just leave the major up, leave up Protect from Magic, and just try to kill the ranger as fast as possible to minimize incoming damage, which I guess is part of the reason why we optimize for range defense. So that part makes sense. So some of my other markers here, these red tiles represent dead zones where if I try to attack Jad from those tiles, it's going to drag me forward, which is bad. I don't trust my ability to manipulate that, so I've just marked those in red to try to tell myself don't try not to click from those tiles if you can help it. Try not to click Zuck from those tiles, I guess. The orange tiles that mark out of range, this means that I can't hit the further enemy from these tiles. So I think from here, if I recall correctly, this is out of range for the ranger. That's out of range. Let me change the label just so that I can keep track of it. Out of range, ranger. This one's out of range, major. So if I'm trying to take out the ranger and I end up all the way over here, I should just start hitting Zuck or the major, I think. And then once I get back here, I can start attacking the ranger again. This is specifically with the F bow or the twisted bow. So those are my main markers. I know that at 600 health, the set spawn timer pauses. So I think the objective there is to give myself as much time as possible. I think I want to try to finish off a set like right after it spawns, is when the boss is close to 600 health, to pause the timer. And then 480 health is the Jad spawn. Jad's going to be annoying, but I think I can attack him from every tile. So as long as I just kind of focus on his deal, I might try to barrage his healers. It might just be safer for me to shoot them each manually and just try to focus on prayer as much as possible. Jad needs to die. We want to wait to trigger healers until we've just finished a set, I think, is the idea. And by finished a set, I mean killed the ranger from that set that just spawned. And then this H means that when I go to trigger the healers, I want to keep Zuck close to 240 health and then wait to trigger the healers until I cross over here. H for healers, because then I can hit Zuck once, 2-3 times, 4 times, and then be near a healer. And I might switch to the blowpipe for the healers, although I also might not because of like nerves and stress. Not having switches is going to help a little bit to be less stressed out with this fight. But I think the blowpipe is better because they're all close enough to it. And I learned that each of the healers cannot be attacked as they turn around to face away from healing the boss. So I have to tag each of them. I have to prioritize tagging them all first, and then I can start trying to kill them. I'm definitely going to die. I might even die to triple Jads, to be honest. It's been a while since I got that practice in, so I probably should just go ahead and start here. Let me see, do I have a heart rate monitor? I do. Just put that above the live split timer there. Plug it in. I don't do this very much on RuneScape anymore. Probably should have done it for those Chambers of Xeric speedruns. Alright. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the VOD here just so that the next VOD doesn't get fast forwarded, or I'll have the option to fast forward it. Okay, here we go. Sorry that this isn't going to be fast forwarded. Apparently the pillars can kill you here if you stand next to them. I didn't realize that they did damage when they collapsed, like Verzik. Oh shit, I got terrified. Didn't realize they could resurrect each other. I thought that was like Jad for a second, even though it doesn't make any sense. Probably need to mark the starting tile for Jad. I forgot to do that. It's probably a mistake. Alright, here goes. Alright, triple Jads, here we go. Practice it before, but... Oh my god. Phone is ringing. I was able to dismiss it without dying. Killed Ajad. Okay, 2 Jads down. Now I just have a regular Jad. Let's log out. I wasn't gonna log out, but I think I need to, like, breathe after this. Okay, first time doing triple Jad. For real. I don't want to stay on the map for long, because if I do, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and recharge prayer here. Okay. And I'm going to log out. I guess we probably want to log out near the shield starts. I think I have a second to get behind the shield. I don't know how that works, actually. Let me remind myself how the hell that works. Watching the VODs. Sorry, this won't get fast-forwarded. I think it spawns in the center, so I'm glad I logged out in the center. Okay, I'm gonna die. I need to just accept it. I'm going to die. I am going to die. Gonna die. I'm going to die. It's okay that I die. I am going to die. Gonna die. Gonna die to Zuck. Don't get excited and think I'm gonna beat it first try. I'm not. I'm gonna die. I need to learn the fight. Okay, here we go. Great power is starting to shake the cavern. Zuck's prison is breaking down. There's nothing I can do for you now. I wonder if it always moves you here at the start. were to hit both of them. Waiting for a set to spawn, and it's absolutely killing me. I think I just need to screw it and start attacking him here. I haven't been seeing any mobs spawning. Alright, that was a big mistake waiting there, but it's okay. Here we have no ads while Jad is out. 480 is the more important number, I think. There's Jad. Jad's down. Okay. Be careful getting to 240 here. Just need to kill rangers now. Don't need to kill meteors at all. Hopefully I didn't do too much damage there. Okay. Shit. Accidentally clicked from the bad spot. Get healers now. This isn't gonna give me a heart attack. Oh shit, there's another mage back there. It's gonna kill my... Please don't kill this. Oh no! It was going so well. Still win via absolute unit now, but I learned something really important there about the second set, that I've been ignoring the mages, but I still have to hit the second. Oh my god. Holy shit. God. Oh, I didn't deserve that at all. Absolute unit, completely saved the day. But I learned a really important lesson that would have been heartbreaking to learn on the live servers if I got that far. I forgot to tag the second major. Yeah, so I just ended up spam quaffing brews in the hope that he wasn't going to hit me for... I think his max hit is like a... It's something stupid. It's... His max hit is a 251. So if he had hit that, if he hit anything over a 200, I would have died. Ooh, I'm shaking real bad. Heart rate monitor is definitely dead there. Jesus Christ. So people keep saying that Zuck's actually not that bad. And he's pretty bad. He's pretty hard. But I see what they mean when they say he's not that bad. He's not any more complicated than the corrupted Hunlef. And in fact, I think the Hunlef's actually a little bit more annoying in a lot of cases. This guy's more about just kind of nailing down what's supposed to happen in the fight. I really thought I was dead there when I fucked up that that second shield, or the second major. Like, I was like a tick off. If I'd hit him a tick sooner, the shield would have had at least like 1 hit point, and that would have carried me. But good lord, did I get spooned there at the end. Wow. Okay, let's equip this, please. All right, equip an Infernal Cape, 250 points. I definitely need those points real bad. And I'm going to go make an Infernal Max Cape, because why not? And then I am going to go lie down before I do anything else. I don't want you to have to watch me walk over and do this, so I'm going to split the recording one more time, and this will just be the one that doesn't get fast-forwarded. Hold on. Let me turn off this heart rate monitor. I think that definitely peaked as high as it has ever peaked. Oh my god, it got up to 195. Jesus Christ. All right. So I still don't count that as having beaten it on the first try, because I basically cheated. I got really lucky and got hit by Zuck like 7 times and did enough damage via absolute unit that it was enough to win, but good lord. I'm really glad I got a chance to do that. Like I said, I'm going to try to get a Slayer task for it and do it a few more times over the next week before the league ends. Maybe try to go for the Kill It Fast achievement. Maybe do the waves primarily with melee. But even just seeing it once, I think, has already taught me a bunch of really valuable lessons. I'll try to like write them down somewhere so that I can remember. I also got hit by Jad a couple times, and absolute unit saved me there. But that was just like total nerves. And one of my lessons was, if I'm panic brewing during Jad, I have to remember to super restore. I completely forgot to do that. Prolonged it for a long time. And nicely, that confirms for me that I did never use the blowpipe. I never switched to it. It was completely fine with just the F-bow. I mean, obviously, I had Knife's Edge and double tap helping me, but really not that much, because I was mostly topped off during healers, or close to it. And I only had the level 1 double tap, so I think it would be fine without it. I think I'm going to run out of cash here. How much is a max cape again? Is it like 2.2? 2.2. Okay, just barely afford it without having to alch anything. If you hand him it, he says, that's XP waste. That's funny. You will lose your Infernal Cape if you proceed. I already got my task completion for it, so that should be fine. Okay, nice. That looks pretty awesome. Okay, yeah, I gotta go lie down. I'm probably gonna, since I was able to get the clear on the first run, I'm probably going to, I'm still going to do more Inferno, I promise, before I'm done. I don't know if I'm going to publish this whole thing as just a single episode. I guess I could. But I need to do more point stuff, because I want to be really securely in Dragon, and right now I don't feel like it's a particularly secure finish. Probably going to go for like 5,300 points, which should be pretty doable. So one of the things I do while I go lie down is figure out what I'm going to do to get points. But that was amazing. That was fun. I had a good time.
I'm glad that I waited until I had this set up because it's pretty close to what I'm going to have on the live servers. Equipment-wise, obviously, not fragments, and I've learned to just put this thing away. I do not need the blowpipe. This would probably renew my motivation to keep doing Corrupted Gauntlet on my main. Like I said, I'm like 250 kills in and no drop yet. But if I know the F-bow is going to work, that makes me feel a lot more confident with giving it a shot. And that was with Eagle Eye. I should not forget that I wasn't even using Rigor, which I have on the main. Okay, cool. Well, why don't we just make that an episode? It'll be short, but, you know, it's exciting. It was kind of the point. So we'll call that the finale of Shattered Relics, and then the rest of it's just going to be an epilogue. So everything else I upload after this point is just going to be me running around getting points, maybe practicing the Inferno a little bit more. I'll go ahead and record it, and I'll stitch it together, and I'll upload it. But this is what I set out to do 460 hours ago, and it's done. So hallelujah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I just hope I can carry forward those lessons over to my main account. And I'm going to write down notes to myself now while they're fresh in my mind, just in case it's a while until I get to do it on my main, because it's probably going to be weeks, months, maybe even a year or so until I actually go to the trouble to finish getting the F-bow. Bye, everybody.